Today on This Is Investing, we are talking about passive income. Now, this is I don't know, Nick, it's quite a clickbaity topic, but I think it is because everyone wants passive income. And we're going to talk about it today. Any initial thoughts from you about passive income?
Yeah, interesting that you said it was clickbaity. I kind of picture it more of almost like the boring thing. I mean, maybe people, they do desire it because I think you need it to live maybe the life on your own terms. But I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out. We'll dig into what is passive income, kind of what sources we got, and we'll see if it's clickbaity or just genius.
Yeah. Now, if you are new to the podcast, this is usually on YouTube, but we aren't doing video on this one today. It is audio only. Nick used to host This Is Investing, but for a variety of reasons, Nick, you are now doing your YouTube.
Yeah, hosting 15-Minute Money on YouTube. Look up 15-Minute Money Nick Bradley and you will see my pretty face.
And we'll put a link in the show notes below. My name is Glen James and you are listening to This Is Investing. Radio. So, Nick, you are American. My apologies. You moved your whole family to Spain here.
Southern Spain, that's right.
So, quick recap, and we've done a full episode on your, FIRE journey.
Yep.
You are considered financially independent. You are retired. You've got a wife. You've got 2 kids. And you do not have a quote-unquote active employment situation.
Correct. YouTube is my most active thing, and they only pay me if I have enough viewers. So feel free to like and subscribe.
Yeah. So what are you doing for income in your world at the moment?
So I'm just living off of my money. So we sold our house and, we had 400,000 US on the sale of the house because we didn't have any debt. And I convinced my wife, hey, I think we can put half of it just in a money market account and be real safe and conservative. And then I'll do a little bit of day trading and then dividends and options will kind of make up the rest of our income.
So a money market account, for the Aussies listening, it is literally just a cash account, basically.
Yeah. It's a cash account in my brokerage, pays a little bit more than the average savings account.
Yeah. So a high interest savings account,
yeah,
basically. Yeah. So 400K USD to AUD is about $610,000.
Okay.
So you guys rocked up with $610,000 in cash. So you've got some trading happening. You've got some interest or money that's interest bearing. You do have a rental property in the US.
Yeah, we get $1,200 US from the rental there.
Yeah, so that basically pays for the rent here, and there's no
we
debt
have to come
on
up
it
with
over there.
Yeah, no debt on the American house. We come up with another $500 basically to pay for this place.
And what type of income are you tracking here from all your income or passive income?
Like the types of income?
Or more like what amount are you tracking per year?
I'm trying to make 10,000 US a month.
Right.
So it'd be like 120 US. Depending on how Bitcoin and Ethereum turn out in the next couple months will kind of depend on whether I hit that number or not.
So basically, in Australian dollars, you're trying to generate 180 grand a year from all your investments.
Yeah. And that's when we first moved to Spain, we were
That's a lot of money.
Is it?
Do you need that much?
I've got very expensive kids.
Right.
Well, honestly, we do pay for private school in Spain because I was a little bit worried about the kids being thrown into the deep end right as soon as we moved to Spain, having to learn Spanish only in a school.
Yeah.
It was their first elementary school experience. So kind of wussed out a little bit and had to do the private school, which I would love to get rid of and have less stress on trying to hit that number.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so you've got the rental income, which is quite passive, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I mean, every once in a while I send our mutual friend over there to fix a plumbing situation if one arises. So far since we've moved 18 months ago, I've only had maybe $200 bill to kind of figure out over there.
What do you reckon the most passive income item is?
I would say dividend stocks, or dividend ETFs.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm getting about $2,400 a month from dividend stocks and ETFs. And you just wake up and you see that number hit your bank account and you're like, oh yeah, this is good. Mm-hmm. Some of them pay quarterly. Most of the ones that I'm invested in pay monthly. So I kind of know what days it's probably going to hit. But when you get those big quarterly payments, you're like, oh baby.
And when people think passive income, where would you say people start? Because a lot of the stuff that you see online, and every time we talk about passive income, this always comes to mind. People are like, I'm going to do a side hustle and make a passive income. Well, there's not much passiveness to an active thing that you need to do.
Probably a second income.
It's a second job. It's a second income. Like
YouTube's a second income. It's not truly passive. Once you get some stuff out there, and I'm pretty new to YouTube, but once you get some videos out there, you can get some recurring revenue, but you're actively creatively using your brain, you're making these videos, you're thinking of topics, where like the passive income, like I would say my property's fairly passive. I don't do a lot. The dividend stocks are definitely passive. I don't do anything except for pick the stocks and maybe look at them every once in a while. I've made a few changes to the portfolio over the last 18 months. Probably got more aggressive with it, really. Maybe not really the direction you want to go when you're doing dividend investing, but that's where
your options trading isn't passive, really, because you're
yeah, I mean, it is and it isn't. So how I do options typically, and I do talk about this on the YouTube channel a bit, 15-minute money if you're interested. Once a week on the option side, I sell cash secured puts on a Friday, either morning or afternoon.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's always afternoon here in Spain because that's the morning US time, but I'll sell a cash secured put, and that says that I have to buy 100 shares of a company if it falls to a certain strike price. So let's say Apple's trading at 200. I'll say, hey, I will buy Apple at 180 if it falls there within the next 7 days. And then I might get paid $200 a week to do that obligation. If it doesn't fall to 180, I just keep the $200 and do the same thing next week. So I do that 5 to 10 times every Friday. And I don't really have to do anything the rest of the week, except for I'm like researching maybe what stocks I would like to do that on. So it's fairly passive. It's like less than Facebook drop shipping or something.
Yeah. And I think this is an investing podcast. And when we do the This Is Investing stuff, we want to have this investing theme. But I reckon the ultimate thing that you need to do is not worry about the passive income, quote unquote. I reckon it is trying to get to the mindset where you are not having a direct trade of your time for money.
Yeah, I mean, my worst case scenario, I could, if I'm trying to do the day trading, just kind of like, because there could be some good money in it. I'm learning as I go along. I'm spending a couple hours a day on that. Same with YouTube. I like using the creative side of my brain to generate some content, maybe help some people out. But legitimately, you could be doing what I'm doing with the rental property, the dividend stocks, and the options trades. You could do that 4 hours total a week.
And that's why, absolutely, I think dividend shares or investing in ETFs is the only real passive income. Even if you own a property with cash, that's fine.
Something's got to come out of property.
But equity is the truest form of passive income. However, to get to that amount invested, it needs to come from somewhere. And that's your human capital, transfer of human capital.
Yeah, we worked jobs, we flipped houses, we sold a couple houses, we did a lot of work on the housing side for 10 years when we were married before we had kids. That gave us a paid off house that we then, the market went up and we said, hey, let's change our life. So we sold and we kind of changed things as it was. So it gave us that opportunity to change things up and to decide, hey, we want to live this different life. We want to live life on our own terms. So yeah, the human capital definitely helped the upfront. But I mean, honestly, we retired on a much smaller portfolio than I would want to. I would have, the last 12 years of my life, I've been working for a nonprofit, and it hasn't been like I'd worked in a corporate job. I could have made 3 or 4 times the amount working in a corporate job, just piling money into retirement and doing this maybe quote unquote correctly. And this kind of came out of like my mom had passed away, and it was like 2 years after that. And we were sitting in Columbus, a city that's really great, but the weather's not all that great. The people are wonderful. And we're like, we just want to change something up. We want to change how we're raising our kids. We want to spend more time with our kids and with each other. What if we just did this thing? And we're into year 2 of that experiment. And so far it's been going pretty well. And so far the passive income's been paying the bills, and we'll see how it keeps going.
Yeah. So I think that's the whole encouragement. I mean, I wanted to, in my life, be able to make money while I sleep. I effectively do that with, the podcasts and YouTubes. They run 24/7.
Hopefully pretty soon a second copy of our book coming out.
That's right. Actually, Nick and I wrote the book, The Quick Start Guide to Investing. It's a really cool book. They're about to do a reprint. I'm going to update a couple of things. But that's the mindset I want my listeners to get into. Not how can I take a heap of investment risk to try and get the capital Because to get the true passive income or to come up with 600K, right, to invest, you have to get that capital from somewhere. And the faster that you do that, the better. But I think, Nick, the problem is when we have the investing amounts as the actual goal, what can happen is we do dumb things and take stupid risks.
Yeah.
And you do not want to be operating with, so if you saved $1,000 a month, right, you do not want to be operating where you're putting your $1,000 a month into a very, very speculative, high-risk investment. Because what are you saying?
Don't look at me at my grins.
Yeah. Because the problem is it could flush you and you're screwed. And that's why we can't try and have the initial seed capital in our life coming from, well, I don't know. We'll take a break and we'll be back right after this because I want to finish my thought, and then we'll kind of talk about our top passive income sources right after this.
If you're after personal financial advice, don't get it from a podcast. If you would like help based on your own personal situation, head over to moneypodcast.com.au, click Get Help, and we'd be happy to introduce you to one of our trusted professionals. Our panel of vetted financial advisors and mortgage brokers work with people all over Australia so they can connect with you wherever you are. That's moneypodcast.com.au and click Get Help.
I think what I'm saying is there is this a spectrum where if we are young, absolutely we do need to take investment risks. But what I'm trying to say, Nick, is we can't have the mindset with I need this investment to increase, to double, to triple, because once that happens, my life will be content, my life will be complete, my life will be awesome, because you'll get dumb and get stupid and you'll lose your money.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, well, we need to actually rewind. How can we live life on our own terms so we are happier, so we're not taking these huge risks with all our money? Because when you were grinning before, I'm like, yeah, it's true. We do need to take some risks.
Sure.
And maybe the younger that you are, the bigger risks that you can and should take.
But don't be getting into investing for dopamine.
No.
If you need a dopamine hit, go spend $25 at the lotto and have fun or do whatever, but don't bring that mindset into your investing life, because once you get, like, I've had stocks that go up 200% and you're just like, oh, this is it. But then like the FOMO takes over. Investing should be pretty boring. You shouldn't be thinking about your investing all the time. The more boring it is, you're probably doing it better.
So this whole thing about this passive income thing, I want you to first focus on what are you doing with your life first. Do you hate your job? Okay, Let's get a plan in place and change it. Do you hate Mondays? Okay, Mondays doesn't suck, your life sucks. How do we change this? Because then we don't have to run away from our life and our job.
Careful now.
Ooh, someone did. And then what we can do once we get our life in balance, once we get content, once we get happy, once we're not hating our job and our life, then we can start looking at not chasing the passive income. I think we look at chasing how can we stop trading our direct time for money. And that is the key to financial success. IMHO.
It sounds like Sort Your Career Out might be the sponsor for this particular episode.
Yeah, well, it is, and but it's not sexy. It's boring.
Sure.
But if you get that sorted and you don't hate your life, then you can now focus on how can I. If you want to be, you might love going to work and going home, and being in marketing team, being a nurse, being a butcher, baker, candlestick maker. You might love that. Awesome. Usually the people that listen to these podcasts, they've got a different bent almost. Like they want to be financially better off and ambitious and all that. I'm saying I want you to be happy with your life, then start as Mark 2, phase 2, look at how can I have a transition period so I'm not having a direct trade for my time to money. That is the financial success, not the passive income. The passive income will come if you do it right.
If you do it right. So do it right.
So what do you reckon you've talked about your real estate and your equities. Do you have any other types of passive income that's your favorite?
Depends on kind of how you break it down. Like I would put weekly or monthly options trades into slightly passive income bucket.
But it's that you're not trading your direct time for money because the options are in market for that week.
Right.
And you only have to dedicate a couple of hours.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to differentiate between like real estate investment trusts, which is like also in the market, but it's a different tweak. It's not truly a dividend stock. It's a REIT. So it's a company that owns a bunch of real estate that's paying you as being a part of that company. Then I've got some business development companies, BDCs, and those are kind of similar to REITs, where they have to pay out a large portion of the profits to the holders of the companies. So a lot of the BDCs I have are paying between 7 and 9%. It's like those are pretty good. So between like true dividend stocks, dividend ETFs, real estate investment trust, and business development companies, those 4 are all in market. And then I've really started to dabble into Bitcoin leveraged like ETFs.
Talk to me about that in the 5 minutes we've got before I have to go to the airport.
Definitely a more risky play. So it's a much smaller portion of my portfolio, but there's a couple companies out there like Neos and YieldMax that have different Bitcoin-based ETFs. So they hold Bitcoin and then they use the futures market to create a yield on the Bitcoin, because you can just own Bitcoin but not get monthly income. And the yield ranges between 20 and 150% a year.
Jeepers creepers. And how much have you got allocated to this crap?
1% of my portfolio.
Yeah, okay, so nothing almost.
It's not much, but that 1%, like truly I am getting 25% on one and 140 on the other.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
But that's the thing. It's like you're not putting mass amounts of your money into that highly speculative stuff.
So I have probably even less than that. I think I've got like 25,000 into these ETFs, but they are paying $600 a month. So right now I'm tracking like the Bitcoin market. I think will probably top around like the end of this year. So I'm probably going to sell out of these by November or Christmas time, and then I'll reallocate it to something else.
I think for me, and this is such the fallacy, right, of this whole passive income thing. Like my best type of passive income, other than my ETFs, right, and it's not really passive income because I'm just reinvesting the distributions from the ETFs and the any dividends that I get, right?
Yeah.
But I reckon other than that, the best passive income, and this is why it's such a fallacy and a sham, is my book royalties, right? And I'll be honest, guys, like I don't get that much money from the books that we write. I might only get $250 per week, maybe sometimes a little bit more from book royalties, right? Which is awesome, quote unquote, passive income. It's like, I'm getting 10, 15, 20 grand a year or whatever that ends up being each year. That's passive income. But it took my career, my experience, my job, all the time, building an audience to sell books to, building a profile to get to that place. So
and writing the book's a lot of work.
That's right. So while it is a really good form of passive income, there was a lot of active crap needed to happen to get to that point. And that's why we always have to go back and encourage people. If you do not like your life, if your life sucks, I want you to put some type of plan in place so in 12 months' time, you are not sitting in this same spot hating life. Sort your life out first. Don't hate life. Focus on what you want to do. Focus on not trading your time for money, and invest. And you'll be a victim of passive income in the future.
A victim of passive income.
It's the type of victim I want to be. I need to go to the airport. Nick's driving me to the airport here in Malaga.
I'm actually taking him to the bus station, but I haven't told him until right now.
And thank you for all the work that you've done on This Is Investing over the last couple of years.
It's been a pleasure.
And please have a look at Nick's YouTube, everyone. 15-Minute Money. Put a link in the show notes. If you haven't bought our book yet, The Quick Start Guide to Investing, link in the show notes. Got to get that $1.50 per sale divided by 2. It's a tough business writing books. But thank you so much for listening today. And I hope you can be encouraged and inspired by some way. Maybe you want to go and have a look at some type of Bitcoin yield ETF. Good luck getting it in Australia. Maybe you want to have a look at, I don't know, some REITs or not trading your time for money. Because that is the golden ticket. That's the only free lunch in this life. My name is Glen James, joined by
Nick Bradley
from
America, Spain, and Alaska.
No, your flippin' YouTube channel.
15-Minute Money.
We'll see you soon. Thanks, friends. Bye. Thanks for listening to today's podcast. If you want to support us, there is one way you can do that. You can send the episode to a friend, a family member, or your group chat if you think those people would find it valuable. We also thank you for leaving a review on Apple or Spotify. If you've listened to this podcast for some time, or if you've read any of my books, you would know that giving and generosity in a financial sense is a big thing in my life. If you think it's time that you are ready to give financially to a good cause, you could head to our website, moneypodcast.com.au/charities to see the charities that we support.
Any advice is general financial advice only, which does not take into account your objectives, financial situation, or needs. Because of that, you should consider if the advice is appropriate to you and your needs before acting on the information. If you do choose to buy a financial product, read the product disclosure statement, PDS, and target market determination, TMD, and obtain appropriate financial advice tailored to your needs. Simo Interactive Pty Ltd, the publisher of this podcast, and Glen James are authorized representatives of Money Sherpa Pty Ltd, which holds Financial Services License 451289. Opinions or comments from any guests on the podcast are theirs and not those of the host or the publisher or their respective license holders.